A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome along to live coverage of round 12 of the 2025-2026 Autobahn Sportscar Challenge. Well, just recently, you might see of the fact that we were racing at the Sebring International Raceway for round 11 of the series and also round 3 of the 2025-2026 Autobahn Endurance Cup. But for the last 3 rounds on the calendar, we return to Europe. Firstly, here for 60 minutes at the famed Hockenheim ring circuit, just off of the Bertha Benz Memorial Route, which has also hosted events such as the DTM International GT Open, Formula One, Grand Prix Motorcycling, World RX, but here tonight, Autobahn Sports Car Challenge is going to be front and centre. And you join up here in the JP Broadcasting Global Broadcast booth. It's Alex Goldschmidt and Chris Murphy reunited once again. And before we get towards the tail end of qualifying, Chris, it's good to have you back in the saddle, buddy. Sebring was a bumpy, undulating affair for 90 minutes, but we go back to the 1 hour sprint format, and it should be a really, really good one tonight here in Germany.
Yeah, looking forward to it. I've not had the opportunity to cover a race at Hockenheim in a while, so see, I gotta work on my German. But good to be in Germany, even if it's in the virtual world. Always wanted to see this racetrack, so this could be a fun one here tonight for sure.
Yeah, the circuit itself measures 4.574 kilometres. I do know that because I've covered the DTM Series finale on 3 separate occasions, 2013, 2014 and 2016. Whereas actually there at the circuit, it is a wonderful facility. Now, we need to keep you updated with the scores on the doors as they are at the moment. And when it comes to our GTP side of things, well, there is a slight change to what you see because two drop scores have been taken into consideration. So, Chris, let's not worry about the scores. I'll take the people through it briefly vocally because those are slightly out of date, my friend.
I just got off their website today. That's kind of surprising.
Yeah, well, we've got the 2 drop scores to consider as well. So with 2 drop scores, Brandon Wilson is on 271 points versus Nathan Dowd, who before drop scores is on 298, but is on 262. Dominic Dernberg, who rounds out your top 3 in the series, and the Honda Acura Composite the Acura 06 Composite Performance GTP rounds out your top 3 in the standings. We've seen hide nor hair for a multitude of rounds from the likes of Pat Pelchat, Harrison Higgins, Jimbo Pfeiffer, Jordan Martin and Billy Smith II. However, Kadin Richardson, after Sebring last time out, who picked up another win, his first since Portimao on January 5th, is 1 race away from wrapping up the LMP2 crown completely in the Sports Car Challenge side of things. And he's currently on 294 points. Mo Islam, with 2 drop scores at the moment, is in second position on 232, with Tinsey on 222. Walker Carroll from Fury Simsport, who we didn't see last time out at Sebring, makes his return here to Hockenheim, rounds out your top 4 in the series. Robert Cast, currently still leading in the GTD side of things, ahead of chief rival Carter Kundinger. Rob Cast having a bit of a disaster with a few moments to go in Sebring, ends up finishing P6, but he's on 261 points. Carter Kundinger on 253. Bradley Haley on 240 points. Means we've still got a very, very undecided GTD field at the moment. Samuel de Oliveira at the moment is on 276 points, the man who has had 5 straight wins from 6 appearances, starting from Road America right the way through to last time out at Sebring, has been the tour de force. His closest competitor, Paul Slavonic, on 247 points. Chris Sherburn, who was under the Gone Broke Racing moniker, now under Sector 5 by Haley Agency, rounds out your top 3 with Dale Green, Rich Minkler, Mark Kudrowski, rounding out the top 6. Then we come to the team standings and composite performance on 2873, head of Sector 5 by provided by Haley Agency on 2695. Fury Simsport not that far behind them on 2617 with Solpet Precision Racing, Sector 5 Black and Satellite Racing bringing up the rear of the field. But yeah, I know you said you pulled those points off there, but it's not including You know what, Chris? I'm going to have to send you over the links.
No, I see it.
For
I see what I did now. They got 2 columns on their spreadsheet, so I pulled
Yeah,
them
they
off.
have. They have, buddy.
Yeah.
But the thing is that the way things stand, I mean, at the moment, you know, GTD, very much undecided. GTP, if, you know, the way that Brandon Wilson from Hyperion Racing, you know, he's got to win. I think he's got to basically do the clean sweep across the board for the next 3 rounds, and he's got it in the bag. Samuel de Oliveira is 29 points ahead of Paul Slavonic at the minute.
He's not here.
But the big problem is, yeah, so, yeah, Slavonic, if he's 50 points, if he's over 50 points adrift, well, he will be more than likely come the end of this race, then we possibly might have Samuel de Oliveira could wrap this title up at Aragon. But still, with this race yet still to go, unpredictability. That's the key word I'm going to say at this point in the series.
Yeah, it's definitely going to come down to the last few races here. Who can stay consistent? Who's going to show up too? Because you just never know. You know, real life gets in the way sometimes, and some of these guys are missing these races. But Samuel, I like to see, you know, if Sam, I'm kind of rooting for him. He's been kind of, you know, he's been kind of started off the season. I kind of thought as an underdog, but he came around and won a bunch of races. Now he's leading the points here. You know, if Samuel can win this championship, it'd be pretty cool. We've had a chance to talk to him up in the booth a few times, and I know we're not really supposed to root for anybody, but I've always liked that paint scheme on the car all season long too. We've had a good chance to showcase it many times.
And we've also had the fact that he's become the Portuguese equivalent of Adley Fogg at Macau, who had Hello Kitty on his R8 a couple of years ago. But there we see de Oliveira and Sherburn. Chris now having a new paint scheme as a Sebring last time out, but it still has the Goldschmidt Racing logo on the underneath the right rear tail light. It is going to be the case of these drivers will have to put their best foot forward here in a 16-minute encounter. We're waiting for Shane Hunter to join the grid, but it is going to be a very short pace lap here at the circuit. So Shane Hunter in the 927 Mercedes will not take the start, but it will be the Porsche pace car that will lead us away very, very shortly. And so it will be the case that Brandon Wilson will start from pole position. Alongside him will be Nathan Dowd in the Sector 5 Baby Agency Cadillac on the front row. Dominic Dernberg in the Composite Performance Accurate will line up on the inside of row number 2. Joining him will be pole sitter in the LMP2 division, returning Walker Carroll from Fury Simsport. Robert Tinsey, Mo Islam and Kadin Richardson round out your top 7 drivers, thereby completing the LMP2 field. Rob Cast, Bradley Haley, Eric Staramboli and Carter Kundinger complete the GTD grid, which are positions 8 to 11. And then we go to the back end of the field. Dale Green starting from pole position in GTD AM ahead of Samuel de Oliveira, Chris Sherburn and Shane Hunter, the Canadian in the 927. Mercedes-Benz due to start from the last position on the grid. It is going to be a 16-minute adventure, and with every single one of the Autobahn Sportscar Challenge rounds, GTPs limited to 80% fuel, LMP2s 90% fuel, GTD and GTD AM will be restricted to 67%. And with the temperatures showing at 22 degrees centigrade track, 19 degrees air, the Porsche pace car peels in to pit lane. Brandon Wilson did the perfect job at Sebring, as he is going to go on the gas straight away. And here we are for 60 minutes. We go green here at Hockenheim for round number 12 of the series, and into the first corner they go at Nordkurve, and the LMP2s have already gotten going. Meantime, Rob Cast, who's starting actually from pole position, will lead the field into the Nordkurve. Then they're going to have to use a little bit of that runoff area. Then it's the short shoot up to what they call the Einfahrt Parabolica. You can see that the drivers are going to be weaving from side to side, but then top speeds here have been approaching the best part of over 175 miles an hour in the GTPs, as Brandon Wilson leads us into Spitzkehrer, which is the hairpin at turn 6. And, well, Walker Carroll is backing them all up in the LMP2 division. He's leading the way ahead of Tinsey, Richardson, and Islam bringing up the rear. Cunninger's got through on Staropoli. And, well, Shane Hunter has not joined the grid, I'm afraid. Walker Carroll being chased down by Satellite Racing, Robert Tinsey, who's going great on board with the number 82. It might be a shortened track than what people might remember, the old school Formula One variation of Hockenheim, when it used to go through the trees. I used to remember the Kung Fu fight between Nelson Piquet Sr. and I think it was Salazar, who took him out coming through the chicane, and then Nelson Piquet thought he was Bruce Lee all of a sudden, so Elio Salazar ended up nearly having a kick downstairs. But meantime, already, well, we are on BMW's home turf. No surprise here, Chris, that Brandon Wilson has become like the scalded cat that he is.
Yeah, he is scurrying away in a hurry right now, about 2.5 seconds to the good. We look here at Nathan Dowd. He has got his hands full with Dominic Dornberg right there for that second place. But Wilson just kind of continue where he did last week at Sebring. If we take a look here at Walker Carroll in the LMP2 leading that group, Mo Islam and Kadeen Richardson kind of going at it here. Kadeen started up at spot 4, but is now falling back behind Islam. See if he can make his way to the front. He, like you said during the pre-race, he's got a chance to secure the championship here, but he's got to finish up ahead of Mo.
Oh, to be honest with you, I think even if he stays behind Mo and finishes P4, that's probably going to be enough to seal the deal, because he needs to be 50 points at least ahead going into the final 2 rounds. Of course, in 2 weeks' time, we'll head to Motorland Aragon, and then the final round of the series, and that will include the 4th and final round of the Autobahn Endurance Cup. We'll go to Spa for 90 minutes, and that should be an absolute corker. Hopefully we'll have a good grid. But one of the other good things about Sebring was that we didn't really have, there were no post-race penalties, even though we had a majority of GTDs battling ways. Robert Cast has lost the lead to Carter Cunningham, who's moved up from 4th in the division, now runs P1 as they head to the infield. This is going to be very, very much the case of, can you risk it here at the Sachs Curve, which is cambered to the left-hand side. But again, just seeing the quality. Okay, it might not be the biggest quantity on the field, folks, but when we do see Autobahn Sportscar Challenge in action, the racecraft is absolutely mighty.
Oh, it's been some of the races we've covered all year long, Alex, for sure. And you know, we've been expecting this battle with Carter and Robert Cast for a lot of the races, but the last couple of races I've been involved with anyway, it seemed like one or the other had some kind of an issue, and we've not seen this battle forming up like it is right now. But right now, Carter's doing a good job, and Robert all over the back of him. So hopefully they can continue this, give us a show here for the next 56 minutes.
Yeah, well, Carter was away actually, and I think he was away in Florida for a couple of rounds, so that gives him a little bit of a drop round advantage, if you want to call it that. They're now going to head down into turn 6 at Spitzkeller, the hairpin, one of the hardest braking zones on the circuit. Get a nice little onboard from the front bumper of Rob Cast's Fury SimSport, even though it's under GT Dynamics livery. That is the team that Rob runs within the team at GT Dynamics. So, but there we go, Eric Staropoli, another one under the Sector 5 livery from the Delta Sport team. He is closing in and not too far behind. Well, look who is in 4th position overall in the GTD classification, and that is the Portuguese man of war. It's none other than Samuel de Oliveira, diving to the inside. Oh, there's a little bit of a touch, and Eric Staropoli goes round at Sachs Curve and loses the rear wing for the briefest of moments, but like the magician's hat here in iRacing, he brings it back onto the car and he dumps a load of gravel on there for good measure.
Yeah, he just kind of let it roll back into the wall right there. We just switched over to catch the end of that. Let me see if I can see what happened here.
Yeah, a little bit of a touch, I think, possibly a little bit of netcode involved there. Robert was diving to the inside. Eric gave him a little bit of room, and then all of a sudden, slight clash, possible netcode, and Eric did not hold his brakes, even though that's what he should do, but he's now in pit road repairing that damage, so it will be more towards the back end of the Porsche 911 GT3R. Carter Cunningham now starting to pull away a little bit. He's 2 seconds up the road, as we are over 5 3/4 minutes in to this 12th round out of 14 for the 2025-2026 Autobahn Sportscar Challenge. Nathan Dowd losing time every single lap to Brandon Wilson. He's just gone across the line, done a 1:27.8. Nathan Dowd will come across the line now, 1:28.1. And he absolutely mashed that throttle going through into Nordkurve and here into the Einfahrt Parabolica, which is the entrance to the Parabolica. For those not knowing not understanding German, thank God I'm on hand to educate you people. But obviously being a native of the language as well. Again,
go ahead.
We're seeing the speed traps here at the moment. I mean, Brandon, okay, he's running Billy No Makes at the front here, Chris. He's through the speed trap at about 186 miles an hour. Nathan Dowd, 188. Dominic Dernberg, 188.9 miles per hour. The fastest of the LMP2s is currently Robert Tinsley, nearly 169 miles an hour recorded through the speed trap. And then I look down to the fastest car out of all of the GTDs, and it is Eric Staropoli, who put in 166.2 miles an hour in his Porsche. I think Eric might have decided, well, I might not be carrying on here because his stopwatch has stopped on the pit stop, and he's only completed 2 laps.
Yeah, it's a shame. We looked like we were going to have a nice 3-car battle there for the lead with Carter, Robert Casser, and Eric Staropoli, but Staropoli involved in that incident. He looked like he has retired for the day. So we're down to 3 cars in the GTD class. So it looks like it's going to come down between Carter Cunninger and Robert Casser if Robert can make that ground back up that he lost after that contact with Eric.
Seems like he's able to do so, looking at the last lap times. 36.960 for Cunninger. For Cast, it was the 36.971. Bradley Haley trying to keep pace with them. But I'm also looking at Samuel de Oliveira's lap times. He's just done a 1:37. 1:37.698, and well, he's leading the GTD AM division by just under 3 seconds from Dale Green in the 979 Porsche 992.1 GT3R. Of course, there has been the Evolution kit, the Evo kit, that will be showcased on a lot of the 992 generation GT3Rs that run in the DTM. GT World Challenge powered by Europe powered by AWS. Of course, GT Americas, can't forget about them. IMSA. But I think the closest battle that we've got at the moment here, Chris, that's developing is between Dowd and Dernberg. And when we consider the fact that Brandon Wilson, after Bathurst, he's been able to pick himself up, dust himself off, and just get on with the task at hand, which is run his own race and enjoy the racing at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, we're only 10 minutes into a little bit less than 10 minutes into this race, 7 laps in, and Brandon's already almost 6 seconds clear of this battle here for second. So he's definitely got this Hockenheim ring track dialed in for sure. He's just kind of checking out, and we'll see if Nathan can find anything. But right now, Brandon definitely has got this race under control.
Yeah, he quite clearly has, and like we saw back at Sebring for round 11, he took a big chunk of points. 52 in total, took pole position, fastest lap, and also won the race, because if it is a round of the Endurance Cup that coincides with a round of the Sports Car Challenge, the drivers get double points from where they finish. So when you think about it, 25 points for a win, times that by 2, 50 points in your back pocket, plus the additional point for pole position and fastest lap. He could have gotten an additional 2 points if he hadn't had any incident issues, but the racing was very, very clean at Sebring last time out. Into Saxe-Cover they go once again. Samuel de Oliveira, well, he's powering away into the distance, really working on using the strength of that 5.4 litre naturally aspirated Ford Coyote V8, and he's 3.2 seconds ahead of Dale Green. There's Carter Cunninger still leading in the GTD overall classification, 2 seconds ahead of Rob Cast. Bradley Haley rounding out the top 3 in that, and there's only 3 runners in that division. Bradley Haley we saw at the sharper end of the GTD division earlier on this series, but it seems like the 428 for Sector 5 Haley Agency has had some struggles here or there in the Ford Mustang.
Yeah, a few rounds ago he put on a really good show, but yeah, definitely struggling here. He's falling off the pace from Carter and Robert Castor, and actually behind 3 of the GT AM cars. So Bradley just got to find a little bit more pace here if he's going to put up a challenge. So right now he's looking to finish 3rd here in this GTD, unless he can find something here, because right now Carter and Robert Castor are just driving away from him.
Yeah, and he's got the overall race leader about to go up the inside of him. Through goes Brandon Wilson in the Hyperion Racing BMW MV8 Hybrid. The car that has the same engine as the 2012 BMW M3 DTM that at this very circuit, nearly 14 years ago, it was a 4-litre naturally aspirated V8 that was in the underneath the hood of the BMW M3 that took Bruno Spengler, Team Schnitzer and BMW Motorsport to a hat-trick of titles. That same engine is what BMW opted to use in the MV8 Hybrid, and just bolted 2 big turbochargers on the side of it and went, right, there's our power differential, let's add a little bit of more muscle to this meat that we got here in this Munich powered V8. But at the moment he is continuing to open up that gap, and now we're seeing the back marker traffic effect come into play here around about the 12-minute mark. So no surprise that both Dowd and Dernberg getting their way through, especially as we've got there Bradley Haley just behind. That is going to be Chris Sherburn. So that just goes to show how quickly things can turn a little bit on their head, that you've got a GTD AM ahead of a GTD Pro. Nathan Dowd has managed to clear through on the 979 of Dale Green.
A little wiggle there from Dernberg.
Yeah. Well, at least the good thing is the yellow submarine is back, folks.
Yeah, Dale Green, he's got that yellow submarine. We've been talking about that all year long. It looks really sharp out there. He's done a good job all season long. Got himself a couple podiums here and there, and he's running 2nd right now. So we'll see if we get the yellow submarine up here for an interview after this race. We always like talking to Dale, and that's just a really good-looking race car.
Yeah. But in the meantime, in the background, we did see that Chris Sherburn had a bit of a co-brown clean-up on aisle 3 as Dale Green fires the car through Nordkurve. Let's just have a look at the replay here. So the 007 Acura, he turns it in. The car's going to drift out a little bit wide after clobbering the curbs. And into the kitty litter goes Chris Sherburn. That does not need a second invitation from Bradley Haley to get on through.
Yeah, caught that curve there on the inside, and just enough that it just produced a bunch of understeer there in the car and off into the gravel. He did a nice job of saving it, getting back on the racetrack, and didn't lose a whole bunch of time to Bradley. He still got him in his sights.
Yeah, and that's going to be quite crucial in these latter stages of the race, because we will have that time around about the 50% mark of the time they're expiring. We're only coming up to the 15-minute mark. That it'll be the strategy call here, Chris, of when the drivers decide to dive into pit road and go for their splash of fuel.
Yeah, this battle here with Nathan and Dominic, for sure. If one of these guys can maybe get a little bit better stop here, because Dominic's has been showing some pretty good pace here on Dowd, but just not able to find a way around this. Yes, he's closing up on him right now, but maybe he'll come in to stop maybe a lap early or something, to try to get some clean air. Maybe he can get out in front of Dowd. But yeah, we've seen that happen all year long here. One pit stop about halfway through this race is about normal for all the drivers here on the Autobahn. It's just the timing of when you decide to come in and how well you get in and out of the pits.
Yeah, and one of the big things that you don't want to have happen is to be caught speeding, entering or exiting into pit lane. That is going to be very, very crucial, because one wrong slip up will cost you points. Meantime, Dernberg closing in on Dowd for second as they go through into the Spitzkauer once more here on what is lap number 11 of this race. And then they're going to head into Oval 1. It's going to be hard on the brakes. into the 90 left. Now that was the location where Ayachan Guven managed to steamroll his way past the inside of Marco Wittmann to get the DTM title for 2025 with Team Manthey. But still, again, Dernberg really seems to be loving this short circuit, which is 4.5, well, it's about 2.9 miles approximately in total length. So seems to be suiting the Acura a little bit more than the Cadillac, I think, Chris, because Nathan Dowd pulled away from Dominic Dernberg last time out at Sebring, and now this Acura seems to be coming into its own on a shorter circuit. It's more about you know, accelerate, brake, turn it on a sixpence, power out the corner, off we go.
Yeah, Dominic doing a really good job of holding on the back of Dowd. And as we're looking at that, it looks like we had an incident here with Kadeen Richardson might have gone off. Oh, it just loses the back of the car right there.
Yeah, that's under braking, going into turn 6 at the Spitzkehre, and oh, bit of a Dallara sideways moment there for Kadeen Richardson. Code Brown clean up on aisle 3 and bring them up. And Rob Cast, oh dear, the Aston has decided to break traction going through into the double right-hander, and he was very, very lucky to get away with that one.
Yeah, you don't usually see Robert Cast make too many mistakes. It gets the back of the car, gets into the corner, maybe a little too hard on the brakes, too much rear brake dialed in the car, and loses it right there. Did a nice job of saving it, though. Didn't go all the way around. Did lose a few seconds to Carter, but is down by 10 seconds now at this point. So, but nice recovery there from Robert. Let's see if he can gather himself back up and make up some ground here. But right now, 10 to 11 seconds behind Carter is a lot to try to make up in 40 minutes time.
Yeah, considering the fact he lost 6 seconds alone on that drama that we just saw him have. Oh, Chris Sherburn, that is definitely exit stage left. Same place again, 007. Gombrich Racing, the Acura, that was a big, big moment for him. But he managed to keep a hold of the steering wheel, kept the throttle fully lit to the floor. And despite pulling a lot of gravel out onto the circuit, he kept one of his 9 cat lives there, Chris.
Yeah, and it was right in front of our LMP2 leader, Walker Carroll. Walker did a good job kind of missing Sherburn as he came back on the racetrack and to put a lap on him. But Sherburne's, that's a second or third off he's had so far in this event. So not going, race not going quite the way Chris would hope for, but he's still out there right now making some laps. But let's see if he can gather himself back up for the last half of this race.
Yeah, it's going to be easier said than done. Nathan Dowd and Dominic Dernberg, they both go off at the same part of the circuit as they go into Saxkurve, which is effectively turn 12. Now through the complex at 13 and 14 before Sudkurve, the double right-hander. Here just off of the drag strip where a certain Nico Hülkenberg, who was 1 point leading the German Grand Prix for Renault, ended up sliding on that tarmac and hitting the barriers, and that was it. That was all she wrote. But still, the amount of speed that these drivers are able to carry through the Nordkurve at turn 1, then now into turn 2, turns 2, 3 and 4 at the Einfahrt Parabolica, and then we get the top speed trap a little bit further down the run towards Spitzkehre here at turn 5, or turn 6. Dominic Dernberg 178, 180, 186 was the flash that I saw on the telemetry, but he has been keeping Nathan Dowd very, very honest in this race. 1/3 down, 2/3 to go, 40 minutes on the time it remains here at the Hockenheim ring, and with the way things are going, big leads are being established. Wilson now 9.8 seconds ahead of Dowd in GTP. Carroll ahead of Tinsey in LMP2 by 3.5 seconds. Kundiger ahead of Cast by 10.6 seconds. And then Samuel de Oliveira finds himself 3.7 seconds up the road from Dale Green in the Porsche Yellow Submarine.
And he's got Walker Carroll coming through there one more time, so LMP2 cars now starting to lap the back of this field. The GTD, as you see Carroll get through there. But Samuel doing a good job. He has got a nice 3.5-second lead over on Dale Green. And as, again, one of the guys we talked about earlier was Samuel. Doesn't usually make a lot of mistakes. So 3.5-second lead could be a huge, it might as well be 15 or 15 seconds, to be honest with you, as well as Samuel runs with consistent as he runs.
Yeah, so the way things are going now, Kadeen Richardson has effectively retired from the race. So has Eric Staropoli. Shane Hunter did not even make the start of it. So what has happened?
Oh, we had that crash earlier. This is the same one here. Let's see here.
So
that's his wiggle that he had earlier. Yeah, and then let's see here. I've got an off track right here. Let's see what this is. See what he does here. Just loses it once again. Doesn't really hit anything here. Oh, yeah, it makes it a little contact left front. Yeah, okay.
Okay, so that in some respects does not help Kadeen Richardson in any way, shape or form. However, with a 4th place finish, that will give him 20 points. That will be... I don't think he even needed to finish the race here, because at the moment Mo Islam is currently P3. That'll be 20 points. 4th will be 18. So that will put Kadeen Richardson on... With 18 points, that'll put him on 312. Mo Islam would then be on 232. That is a 60-point differential, which would mean maybe that is enough for Kadeen Richardson to have the title. Robert Tinsey, even though if he finishes 2nd, that's still going to be 22 points. That puts him on 244, including any drop scores. So that would still put him out of reach. But Walker Carroll at the moment, 25 points. It could be, I think the thing is, it could be the case that Kadeen might have wrapped it up now, and he knew that, okay, if I don't finish the race, if I at least make sure that I hit 4th position, that's it. I don't have to worry.
Yeah, these guys done this long enough. They know exactly where their points are, where they are, and what they need to do. So, I still known Kadeen many times as we've talked to him throughout the season. I think he probably wanted to finish this race and have a good finish. But if you can, if you do have trouble and you get enough points, that's kind of a cherry, I guess, a cherry on top of the ice cream there for him. But
well, considering we are in Germany, it would be the cherry on top of the Schwarzwald, the Kirschtorte, the Black Forest Gatto.
I'm gonna take your word for that one.
Oh no. That is exactly what the German is. Yeah, on top of his German Black Forest Gatto, that will be the cherry on the cake. But yeah, I think it's just a case now that we still have titles that I think that will go down to the wire when we head to Spa, and that'll be in 4 weeks' time on April the 13th. So you can watch all the action here on JP Broadcasting for that, folks, along with the penultimate round at Aragon. But Brandon Wilson, he is like a metronome. Nothing can stop the Hyperion Racing driver at this moment in time. He just looks absolutely unflappable.
Yeah, we have not seen Brandon make a mistake yet. We've seen quite a few other cars lose the back, get a little bit loose, a little bit of oversteer here and there, but Brandon's just been flawless, like you said. I've not seen him miss a step yet this entire race.
No, not at all. Well, we have seen misstep, not just once, not just twice. Mount Panorama was his nemesis this series.
Yeah, it was.
That's all I'm going to say on that one. And all I can say is Brandon Wilson having 2 big dramas, both at Brock Skyline. That's enough for anybody to think, right, well, I'm not going to chance that again. I'll pick up the points wherever I can. And that's exactly what he's been able to do. So at this moment in time, we still have 3 GTPs circulating, 3 LMP2s, 3 GTDs, and 3 GTD AMs, which means we have a grand total of 12 cars still running. We're 4 minutes away from the halfway point of this race. So a big thank you to everyone that is tuning in at the moment, live on the JP Broadcasting Network. Don't forget to give us a like, share and subscribe and hit that notification bell and do all those wonderful things. You know, it's a case of it's been a very, very lengthy sports car challenge, hasn't it, Chris?
Yeah, it really has. You know, these races every other week make it seem like a lot longer. I think we started this back in September, if I remember correct. But you know, it has been a fun season. This has been a great group of guys to cover. Only a couple left to go here after tonight, but like you said, April 13th, we're going to head at Spa, one of the most exciting tracks that I like to cover races at. We've done a couple of races there, and it's just always fun. And I can't wait to see these guys get to that 90 minutes of Spa as well. So hopefully, you know, we maybe get a few of the guys show up that haven't been here for a few weeks. But right now, Brandon Wilson's again still running away with us now, almost 12 seconds plus now back to Dowd. So he just keeps stretching it out every single lap, every single corner. Oh, a little off right there though.
Yeah, well, is he saying to Rob Gast, come on, Rob, I'll play silly beggars with me like that? It's not what he needed, really, to be completely truthful, but it can just show you that other GTPs, they can get caught out. We're going to have a look at the replay. He dives to the inside. Sportscar loses the back end. Well, ends up understeering off exit stage left.
I more think he was kind of saying sorry about that, Rob, because Rob gave him plenty of room on the inside. Brandon just went a little deep.
Yeah, just so like to me, to you, to me, to you.
Yeah.
Happy days. Rob's all good. I'm all good. Let's just bury the hatchet and get away. But meantime, Dominic Dernberg, who I was hoping was going to give Nathan Dowd a little bit more of a fight, is still holding on to that third position. I mean, Dominic, the composite performances, you know, being, you know, he's had his fair share of dramas over the course of this series. But one of the good things about this Canadian driver, he never gives in right up until the checkered.
No, he's in there fighting the whole way. And I agree. I thought he was going to stay on the back of Dowd, pressure, and then he lost about a couple seconds. He's lost about 2.5 seconds since last time we checked in on him. So looks like that car's starting to struggle with him here late in this first stint. But Dowd's just kind of driving away. So these top three GTP cars all separated out right now. But looking for a close race on the racetrack and not really seeing when everybody's separated out by about 1.5 seconds. We're just kind of out here on a Sunday drive at the moment.
It's like Morgan Freeman and Jessica Tandy driving Miss Daisy. But you know, the thing is that what we have seen is within the first 20 minutes of a 60-minute sprint, as Dominic Dernberg gets a slowdown penalty for exceeding track limits, we do find from time to time that some of these races they get into their own flow state, don't they?
Oh, for sure. You know, everybody kind of getting comfortable, getting their pacing on this track. And, you know, usually we see a lot closer racing going on with the GTD cars. But again, you know, a couple mistakes there from Cast has really separated him back from Carter. I thought we were going to have a good fight for the lead there. But yeah, everybody kind of settled in here right now, about halfway through this race. We're just about at the halfway point now. And we're just going to see if, you know, the one tricky thing here is that when you get to this point in the race and you're just kind of out there on your own a lot, maybe just going through some traffic, it's just keeping up your mental, keeping up your composure here, and just keeping your mind on what you're doing and not making any mistakes. So we'll see if everybody can do that here for the last 30 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, people might say that Hockenheim is not a challenging circuit. Well, I mean, I remember walking the track back in, I think it was 2013, after all the on-track activity had concluded. And so I took a walk with a friend of mine, and we were just quite surprised with how, you know, you look at it on a screen or on TV, you think, yeah, that track looks pretty flat. You go to Zach's curve, it's completely different. You're like, whoa, I didn't expect that amount of camber. And that's the thing. There's a lot of there's undulation when you're going into the braking zones. When you're turning in, you've got to be very, very careful of the you know, of the like going through onto the apex of the corner and then exiting out at the right point and then putting the power down. So again, that every single circuit has its own set of nuances, own set of characteristics that you had to sort of kind of get your head round and find what works in the setup in order for you to get the very, very best out of the vehicle that's underneath you.
Yeah, I mean, most of the track does not appear very technical, but like you said, when you get out there, it looks a lot different on the track than it does in real life. I mean, you go through turns 12 and 16. That's a pretty technical little section right there, but a lot of it is kind of flat out. So, but no matter what track you're on, no matter how technical it is, it's all about concentration, and you just got to keep your head on your shoulders. And as I'm saying that, it looks like we might have had some kind of an incident here with Dominic Dornberg, as he lost about 3 seconds. It looked like to Dowd. And just a bunch of understeer right there, and just really has to slow the pace down and not drive off the racetrack.
Yeah, it was like the car was wanting to turn left instead of going right there, Chris.
Yeah.
So he was able to counteract the steering and get the car turning in the right direction. So that has lost him a big amount of time. I mean, the gap at one point between him and Nathan Dowd was at highest half a second, and now that gap has expanded to 9.1, as there is the man that is currently really putting in another dominant performance like he did at Sebring last time out. Brandon Wilson, he will come across the line to complete lap number 22, and we have just over 27 minutes and 40 seconds. Dale Green has just entered into pit lane and has taken a stop. So it is going to be quite interesting how the pit stops will parlay into the strategy that each driver is going to use in this race.
Yeah, pit stops beginning here. We always expected around the halfway mark. Dale going to be the first one coming in. I'm sure we're going to see wholesale pit stops from the rest of the drivers here within the next lap to two. But, it's actually the GTD cars usually stay out a little bit longer, so kind of surprised to see Dale come in earlier. Normally we see the GTP and LP2 cars come in, are usually the first cars to pit. So as we take a look here at Walker Carroll, and he's got Brandon Wilson right behind him getting ready to put him a lap down.
I think with this particular kind of race, it is, that there are races that that you've got to fight tooth and nail at, and there are races like this where you're not fighting against the opposition, you're more fighting against yourself, and in some respects indirectly the stopwatch, because for some drivers this won't be their favourite track. For some it's a little bit like Marmite, either you like it or you hate it. I mean, I've seen many a DTM finale here at this particular circuit, and coming through into turn one at Nordkurve, some of the cars are doing 140, 150 plus, and they're at full throttle. They're still accelerating out of the corner. It just goes to show the commitment of the drivers. But yeah, I'm going to be interested to see who else are going to be the next to pit. Well, as I say that, Mo Islam pits from P3 in the LMP2 division. So he's become the first one of our prototype cars that have pitted. Carter Kundigat still carrying on. He's 12 seconds up the road from Rob Cast, with Bradley Haley rounding out the top three in the division at the moment. Samuel de Oliveira, at this moment in time, over the last 6 appearances, has had 5 straight wins apart from the Algarve at Portimao, his home circuit, which he was a little bit miffed that he wasn't able to make that evening. But he's more than making up for it in spades, because the way that he is he's definitely roped up that cattle he's got underneath him in the form of that Ford Mustang, and he's bringing it along for the ride. I mean, de Oliveira has just found another step, another level, where he has just been able to dominate proceedings. I mean, he didn't put it on pole position, that went to Dale Green, but de Oliveira is, he is the quickest out of the GTD AMs, so he's on course. As, oh dear, Mo Islam, what on earth has happened to the man in the number 91? Now this is going to be at the hairpin. Oh dear, I don't like the look of the angle here out of the corner. What does Mo do here?
Well, that's what they considered that a crash. He slowed down so much that
Oh
the car
dear.
just would not turn and just pushed off the racetrack.
It's like any which way but loose. Right turn, Clyde.
Exactly.
Bang. Oh, and that's Mo Islam off again. And that's where we've seen Chris Sherburn go off a couple of times. Right, Robert Tinsey has been in for his pit stop on lap 23. But again, with the temperatures, cold tyres, cold brakes, they can be a little bit problematic at any circuit that we have raced on so far. And of course, obviously, with the ones that are still left on the calendar with 2 rounds remaining, we've got 23.5 minutes to go. And Dominic Dernberg has been in the pits for over 45 seconds on his markers. And I'm wondering if he's had to control, well, he's probably had to sort out maybe some damage as Walker Carroll pits from the LMP2 lead. He's left that very, very long. That's a good opening stint by Walker Carroll, but obviously then the big thing that we need to have answered is how long he is going to be on his marks in the pit lane as he starts to now refuel in the number 9 car. Tinsey making his way through into the final sector. Brandon Wilson making his way out of Spitzkehrer at turn 6. So at the moment we have yet to have pits from Carter Kundiger, Richard Cast, Samuel de Oliveira, Chris Sherburn. As I say, that Carter Kundiger pulls into pit lane. Will Rob Cast decide to carry on? Is the big €64,000 question that pretty much needs some answering. He goes in to cover off Kundiger. So, and again, Brandon Wilson. What do I need to say about this man? And you know what, folks? We're going to need to maybe crank it up a little bit, because here it comes. A little bit of Autobahn Sports Car Challenge on board ASMR with our race leader, Brandon Wilson. V8 to roar around the around its home circuit here, Chris.
No, not at all. I love that sound. Anytime we get a chance to crank it up, I got my speakers loud in here. Hopefully they're not bleeding over into the mic at all. But just a lot of fun right there. Just watching Brandon make his way around this racetrack, and again, you know, he's got, what's he at now? A 50-second lead back to Dowd. Of course, Brandon has yet to pit here, so we're going to see once he makes his pit stop, see if Dowd make up any time, because it was about. It was about 15 seconds, I think, before the pit stop, so we'll see what happens here once Brandon finally decides to come in for his stop.
Yeah, this is one of those things, and as you say that, Brandon Wilson does come in on lap 27 of the race for his sole pit stop here at the Hockenheim ring for round 12 out of 14.
See, where is Nathan Dowd on the racetrack? I don't think he's going to make up that much time. I mean, Nathan's just coming off of turn number 11 down the little short straightaway into 12 right now. So, yeah, he's not going to make up as much time, but maybe close up a little gap. Maybe he had a good outlap on the tires, can close up a little bit of ground, but Brandon's still going to have to make a big mistake for Nathan to catch him at this point. It looks like Brandon's coming out of the pits now.
Yeah. It's going to be the case of how he is going to try and close up that gap. It's going to be a tall order, but the way that Brandon Wilson has just been manhandling the remaining tracks that we've got. We've still got the 2 to go. After this, we're into the final third of the race, as Chris Sherburn is closing in on Carter Kundiger for on-track position. And at the moment, well, Sherburn is the only driver out of the entire field yet to pit in the race. So at the moment, Sherburn doing a really, really good job. But the way things are, he is quite a way. Well, he's not that far ahead of De Oliveira, who's about 28 seconds behind him on the circuit. And now Sherburn is going to dive in. That is going to release De Oliveira back into the GTD AM race lead. And you can see there in the background behind Carter Kundiger, Dominic Dernberg with a big turn of speed coming out of Stuttgart at turn 16 to cross the stripe. Now Kundiger on his way into Einfahrt Parabolica here at turns 2 to 4. And oh dear, Rob, what have you done there, buddy? I bet he was coming in there a bit way too hot, and that back end wanted to swap with the front. Oh dear.
And I was just looking at the times, and he'd actually closed up the gap there on Kundiger. Because I was looking at the pit stop times, he was 5 seconds faster in the pits. Because at one point he was about 10 to 11 seconds behind Carter, and he closed that gap up with about 5 seconds. But with that mistake, now he is back to almost 10 seconds back. So he was doing everything he can to make up the ground, but another mistake right there is going to cost him a chance.
And that is going to really, really smart for Rob. You know, we both had the opportunity to talk to him post race, and you know, the roost was his whilst Carter was away for a couple of rounds due to other commitments. But now Carter has come back in the Mercedes, completely fired up, ready to bring the fire and brimstone to the GTD division, and that's exactly what he has done. Meantime, Walker Carroll comfortably leading by 13 seconds ahead of Rob Tinsey from Satellite Racing, with Mo Islam completing the top 3. Of course, we've already lost Kadeen Richardson, who retired 13 laps ago, but that might not make much difference in the grander scheme of things when it comes to the Autobahn Sportscar Challenge titles. And more to the point, looking at the Autobahn Endurance Cup side of things, funnily enough, it's Dominic Dernberg that leads that on 122 points, ahead of Nathan Dowd and Brandon Wilson, despite only having taken part in 2 rounds. He won both those rounds. In the Endurance Cup, Kadeen Richardson, he's pretty much he's 52 points ahead of Mo Islam, so Kadeen might have sewn up, you know, if he finishes on the road at Spa-Francorchamps on April 13th, then that will be done and dusted. GTD, Carter Kundiger is actually leading the Endurance Cup ahead of Bradley Haley, Brian Bennett, Robert Cast. And then in GTD AM, it's Samuel De Oliveira, who's got a 10-point advantage after Sebring over Paul Slavonic, who finished P6. So there is still a lot to play for here, folks. And still, with just over a quarter of an hour remaining, the unpredictability factor still can be felt in the air.
And actually, look at this. We've got a race in the GTDM class. Oliveira is still the lead, but Sherburn and Green have now closed up the gap here. I was trying to figure out where Samuel might have lost a lot of time, and he did spend a little more time in the pits. But we've got a 3-car battle here for the lead in the GTDM right now, Alex.
Yeah, Chris Sherburn was the quickest in the pit lane out of all 3 of them, nearly 15.9 seconds for the Acura on its marks in its pit stall. So that for him has given him that little bit of a boost, and to help him challenge the drivers at the sharp end of the field. Now, bearing in mind with regards to the points and also the victories, Chris Sherburn has taken 1 win so far, and that was at Long Beach back at round number 5. So Chris Sherburn has, I mean, like, we look at his results: 7th at Daytona, 7th at Road Atlanta, 7th at Motegi, 7th at Mosport, 1st at Long Beach, 8th at Road America, 2nd at the Algarve, 3rd at Bathurst, 2nd at Jerez, 3rd at Indy, and then his string of podiums got his streak of podiums got broken. It's a bit like the Undertaker's win streak at WrestleMania being beaten by Brock Lesnar. You know, he came through at Sebring and ended up finishing P4, but Chris Sherburn might have an opportunity as, Dominic Dernberg has stacked it big time. Let's have a look what happened. Oh dear, that is not going to go well. Bang, backwards straight into the barriers. Rear end, half shafts, drive shaft, drive train, rear wing and diffuser skate across the tarmac. And Dominic Dernberg he was just coming out of the corner, hit the AstroTurf, and bang, there's the hit.
Big hit there from Dornberg. We thought he had a chance to run up there with Islam, but unfortunately he'd lost a lot of time, and I think he was just pushing, trying to make it back up, and mistake right there. It looks like it's going to put Dominic out of this race.
De Oliveira just made a mistake coming into Saxcova. That was a big moment there for the 522, as now this is going to be, I think, the biggest amount of pressure that he's been on for quite a while as they come out of Sudcova, but Samuel de Oliveira is now having to get a little bit on the defensive. So here comes Chris Sherburn in the Acura. Can he try and get through before the Einfahrt Parabolica? They go through Nordcover at a big rate of speed. It's a wonderful cam there on the circuit, just on the insert of the curbing and the outside of turn 1. And Mo Islam has just been given the black flag, I'm afraid. That looks to be too many instant points hit. So he has dived into pit road. It is a 20x initial incident limit before you get your first penalty, and then after that it is every 5x afterwards. But Sherburn looking to the inside here at the hairpin at turn number 6. Will he be given enough room to make the move? No. De Oliveira closes him off in the Ford Mustang. And look at Dale Green. We've got a 3-horse race for the overall GTD AM race victory. And what's more, De Oliveira looking for his 6th successive win in 7 appearances. 12 minutes on the counter to go. He got a little bit of a wake-up call there, didn't he?
And he's off a little bit right there too. We've not had a battle like this in the GTDM in a while. Sherburn looking really strong. I think Sherburn's actually a little faster than De Oliveira right now. He just can't find a way around. But Dale Green also lurking back there. If these two in front of him make a little mistake, get together, Dale Green is going to take advantage of it. And he's right there, top 3 GTDM, just putting on the show here for us.
Yeah, now they go through into Sudcova turns 15 and 16, and that is going to complete their 29th lap of this race. Race leaders on lap 33 as we speak, and up towards Nordkurve we go. We're briefly on the front bumper cam of Dale Green in the 979 Yellow Submarine Porsche. They've got Robert Tinsey closing in quickly. Then through into the Einfahrt Parabolica. Still De Oliveira holds his line, stays in front of Chris Sherburn in the 007 Acura, which is, like I said, it's got a very different livery to what we've seen pre-Sebring. Tinsey is going to try and make the move. Will this open the door? Here goes Sherburn to the inside of De Oliveira. De Oliveira still hangs it around the outside. Nearly a little bit of a glancing blow between the pair. De Oliveira able to power out of the corner, get the traction down in the Mustang. And he still keeps ahead of the number 007 Acura. As you rightly said, Dale Green, he's just waiting in the wings, waiting behind the curtains to seeing if he can pick up the pieces. 10.5 minutes remain until the check-in. Great battle here in GTD AM for the race victory.
Yeah, I'm sitting there watching Sherburn. I'm just watching the timing of when Tinsey was going to lap, because if I was Sherburn, that's exactly what I would have tried to do, is follow Tinsey past De Oliveira there, and he almost was able to make it work, but had to settle back behind. De Oliveira did a good job of defending. Once Tinsey got by him, to cut that inside line off and hold Sherburn back. So let's see if we've yet to see De Oliveira have to defend for this long in a race. He's got about 10 minutes left to go. Can he hold back Sherburn, and can he hold back Dale Green? Neither one of all 3 of these drivers, matter of fact, any one of them could win this race right now. But it's De Oliveira in control. He's just got to keep his pace up and make no mistakes.
Yep, it is going to come down to the wire in terms of this particular encounter. We still have 2 more races to go, and De Oliveira doing exactly what he needs to at the moment to keep Chris Sherburn at bay. Mo Islam has had a bit of a drama in his own right in the number 91 Delara P217. Walker Carroll is away and clear by 17.5 seconds ahead of Rob Tinsey. But again, here we go. And more to the point, Sherburn was showing his nose to De Oliveira into turn number 6. The Accurate a little bit tighter on the racing line as they all exit out of the corner. Line astern, the top 3, the only 3 in our GTD AM division, are covered by less than 6/10 of a second. De Oliveira has got to just hang on, keep the Mustang, stop the Mustang from skating like it's on an ice rink. If that back end gets a little bit loose, he might have to decide to do a little bit of lifting and coasting and try and counteract the steering or counteract the issue that the car might be having. But into Sachs Curve we go once again. Chris Sherburn getting very, very close as they head through the chicane complex into 13 and 14. Sherburn now knows that his time is now, and to try and strike whilst the iron is hot. They come out of turn number 16 at Sudkurva, and once again Sherburn very well. The problem is that if I was Sherburn, I would stay right in the wheel tracks coming through Nordkurva rather than trying to break out of the toe early. It's kind of not helping him to have that slingshot advantage going into the Einfahrt Parabolica at turns 2 to 4 here, Chris.
No, not at all. But as we've seen for the last few laps, Sherburn just looks a little better getting into the corners. But De Oliveira able to use that Ford Mustang power to get off the corners. He's really good throttle control, not spinning the tires. And even though Sherburn looks to be quicker in and through the center of the corner, De Oliveira is just driving off away from him. As you can see, Sherburn taking a look to the inside one more time, get into the corner, and he has to brake hard to keep him running into the back of the Mustang.
Now, it looks like Mo Islam and Dominic Dernberg, their races are over and done with, I'm afraid, because Mo Islam has been on his marks in the pit stall for over 5 minutes. Dominic Dernberg over 7 minutes. So we are coming down to the last 7.25 minutes of this race here for round 12. 2026 Autobahn Sports Car Challenge live here and up here in the JP Broadcasting broadcast booth. It's Alex Goldschmidt and Chris Murphy. What a great titanic battle we are having between these 3 GTD and warriors, as all De Oliveira got a little bit haphazard coming through out of what would have been on that particular occasion turn 11 at Mobil 1 into Sachs Curve. We're right on board with Brandon Wilson. He's going to try and get through on the pair of them very, very quickly. Dives to the inside, nearly makes contact with De Oliveira, who held his racing line. It was down to Wilson to make the move, and he gets through on the start-finish straight, and that's given a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel for Samuel De Oliveira. But Chris Sherburn, he is not done by a damn long sight. He wants another win.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Chris, Brandon caught him at just the wrong time. He had to give a little bit of room there, and it cost a couple of car lengths on De Oliveira, so he has some work to do to reel him back in just a little bit here, but he's still having some pretty good pace. He's just got to hope that Samuel makes just a little bit of a mistake. I don't think he's going to get past him unless De Oliveira does make a mistake here. As you can see, Chris looking to the inside one more time. And I think what he's doing there, he knows he doesn't have the pace to make that late dive, but he's moving out there, making Samuel think about him, making him look in the mirror, trying to kind of force a mistake on him. So we're going to see what happens here. Is we've got probably about 3 more laps left to go, about a little over 5 minutes. So we'll see what Chris can do here in the closing stages of this.
I'll probably say we're going to have 4 more laps remaining, because with the leaders on a 1 minute 28, let's call it 1 minute 28, so call it a minute and a half. You're talking 4 more laps when Brandon Wilson crosses the line to complete lap number 37, which he will do shortly, as this GTD AM conga line is showing no signs of going away, as we have Ford versus Acura versus Porsche for in contention for the win here in the GTD AM division. It could be the closest finish for this class yet so far this series, as we come down to the final 5 minutes. So yes, it will be 4 more laps, including the one that Brandon Wilson is currently 20% of the way through at this moment in time. De Oliveira holding on as they come through on the run to Einfahrt Parabolica. It turns 2 to 4. And De Oliveira seems to have steadied those shaking nerves at the minute and has started to pull a gap over Chris Sherburn, but the Acura able to use that slipstream down the Parabolica here at turn number 5. Then it's the hard braking zone. Dale Green, I must admit here, Chris, has done a sterling job to keep up with them as they've been battling away tooth and nail over the GTD AM class lead.
Yeah, I actually don't think Dale's really shown all of his pace that he has. I mean, you can see he kind of closes up on these two, and he's going to look to the inside. Sherburne's going to look to the inside. Looks like they're trying to break up the conga line here, Alex.
Yeah, you could be right, but it depends on who's going to pull the trigger first. And at the moment, you would hazard a guess.
That's good movement by Sherburne.
Chris Sherburne. Yeah, Sherburne trying to get through. They've got the run down to Mobile 1 now. And, Green going very offensive to the inside. He tries to go on Chris Sherburne for P2. And that's through Mobile 1 as they run up to Sachs cover here at turn number 12. And that little bit of aggressive or ruthless aggression from Dale Green, very, very well controlled by the yellow Submarine 979 car. Voiture de course, the race car. Well, race car spelt backwards is race car, of course, folks, but these drivers have this and I would say another 2 laps remaining because they are still racing at full unbridled speed. Every single one of the horsepower of each of these 3 cars have been used to their absolute maximum over the last 57 minutes, but De Oliveira, he's trying to break that toe for Sherburne, so Sherburne can't close on in, but whilst that's happening, Green is not that far away. And looking at Dale Green's previous results so far in the GTD AM side of things, it's been quite interesting so far. 9th at Daytona, 4th at Road Atlanta, 8th at Motegi, 4th at Mosport, 3rd at Long Beach, 5th at Road America, 4th at the Algarve, 5th at Bathurst, 3rd at Jerez, 4th at Indianapolis, and also took a 3rd place last time out at Sebring. These 3 have now got Nathan Dowd in the Sector 5 provided by Haley Agency. Cadillac V-Series GTP car closing on into them. So this is going to get rather, I think this is going to be a grandstand finish in the GTD AM division. But Brandon Wilson is now on his penultimate lap of this race as we've got T-minus 2 minutes and counting. De Oliveira still able to hold on whilst Brandon Wilson is in a class and a league above his own.
Yeah, Wilson's now over 30 seconds to the good from Nathan Dowd. Just perfection. I don't know, perfection is not really, I don't know if that's too strong a word to hear today, but Brandon just driving away from the field right now. He can almost pull over and still win this race at this point. But this race here with the GTDM, and once again, looks like that Dowd comes through there and kind of at a bad time for Sherburne, because Sherburne once again loses some ground to De Oliveira here with just about a lap and a half left to go. Can he find a way to catch De Oliveira? I don't think so. I think Samuel's going to keep this lead right here as long as he doesn't make any mistakes here in this closing lap.
I completely agree with you, Chris. I think it's just, tick all the check boxes and just make sure that all your house is in order. And that's exactly what he needs to do right now, because if he gives an opportunity to either Chris Sherburne or Dale Green, they'll be through quicker without any secondary hesitation and before you can say the word jump in your vocabulary. That's how much can decide this GTDM battle for top honours. And with the way that he has been going, I'm sure that Mr. De Oliveira will be sweating like a pig in a blanket after this one, as I think all our drivers will, because it has been a very, very physical circuit here at the Hockenheim ring, just off of the Rhine Valley and off of the Bertha-Benz Memorial Route. Of course, that does have links with Mercedes-Benz, of course, but we are counting down the time here at Hockenheim and through into Spitzkehre on lap number 41. Brandon Wilson next time round will take the checkered flag. It will be another win it will be his 3rd win in the last 4 appearances here in the Autobahn Sports Car Challenge. He really has been, as I said, in a class on his own. He's only got Mobile 1, Sachs Curve, the chicane, and then Sud Curve at turns 15 and 16 to really solidify what will be a slightly further extended championship lead coming into Motorland Aragon on March 30th. Sorry, March 30th this year, but it will be checkered flag this time, and it's 3 in a row out of 4 appearances. Brandon Wilson victorious for Hyperion Racing and BMW on home soil. Carter Kundiger will take the flag and win the GTD battle, but we still got the GTD AMs. They are still battling away, as once again Chris Sherburn trying to look to the inside of Samuel de Oliveira. They still got a handful of corners remaining, and this is where they've got Mobile 1, Sax Curva, turns 13, 14, 15 and 16. That's Mobile 1 dealt with, 5 corners to go. De Oliveira hanging on for dear life. Sherburn nearly stuck his nose up the inside through at turn 12 at Sax Curva. Out of that corner for the final time, through 13, through 14, into the double right here at Sud Curva. It is going to be a hang on, and what a run it's been. It's going to be win number 6 in a row for Samuel de Oliveira. Muito parabéns to the man from Portugal, who wins by just under 3/10 of a second after what has been an exciting 37 laps in the GTD AM division. I know for a fact that Samuel, Chris and Dale will all be laughing themselves silly, thinking that was one hell of a race. And more to the point, we still have one driver yet to cross the line who has just done so. Walker Carroll wins in LMP2, and with that, with a very damaged Dora P217 that's scrabbing all over the place. I think he went for a little bit of barrier attack after the checker had fallen.
Yeah, Walker finished it off with a bang right there for sure.
Yes,
nice
with a rocket on his backside.
Yeah, big win right there. That GTD race was really fun to watch. I wish they'd have gone around a couple more laps. I thought Sherburn had a chance right there. He was definitely better in the corners. I think maybe if he'd have eased up getting in a little bit, might have had a little better pace off the corner. It could have challenged Samuel right there, but again, Samuel de Oliveira with just a good run right there, good consistency, did everything he had to defend that spot. But again, Brandon Wilson just drives away with this race. 38 and a half seconds actually in front of Nathan Dowd. So Brandon once again with another win here for the Autobahn.
So let's take you through the finishing results, pre-penalties of course, here for round number 12 of the 2025-2026 Autobahn Sportscar Challenge. Here at Hockenheim, Brandon Wilson, your race winner by over 38.7 seconds after 41 laps of racing around this 4.574 kilometre circuit. Nathan Dowd finishing in P2. Walker Carroll wins in LMP2 ahead of Robert Tinsey. They were the only 2 cars that finished the race, with Carter Kundiger and Bradley Haley finishing first and second in the GTD side of things. Samuel de Oliveira, Chris Sherburn and Dale Green, they were covered by, get this, 0.7 of a second after that race. Then we had the likes of well, there you can see Shane Hunter didn't even make it to the start in the GTD side of things. We did have retirees, unfortunately, Mo Islam and Dominic Dornberg out on lap 30. They both crashed heavily. Kadeen Richardson out on lap 12 and Eric Staropoli out after slight contact with Robert Cast at Sax Curva on lap number 2. Oh, GTD AM, that's where it seems to be at, and you know what? It's always good to see, but we do. Let's see if we can have a chat with a couple of our drivers. Well, you know what? This man's been missing in action for a little bit of time, but he came back to us at Sebring. So let's welcome in Carter Kundiger. Let's bring him into the booth. Carter, good evening. How are you, buddy? It has been a long time. Obviously, we missed you at Jerez and Indy because you were otherwise elsewhere in the country. But still, a win in GTD, that's not a bad shout here at Hockenheim.
Yeah, I'm happy with my performance tonight. The car felt really good, which definitely helped. And then, obviously just taking advantage of the others' misfortunes. You put those 3 things together, and performance like how I did tonight is kind of what I would expect. So I'm really happy with how tonight ended up.
Yeah, I mean, it just goes to show that, luck's been a bit more on your side, let's be honest, in comparison with with our learned friend Mr. Rob Cast. 2 races where I think in Sebring he was battling you for position, and then he ended up spinning off track, and then all of a sudden we've had more dramas with Rob here at Hockenheim. So this GTD title is going to go right down to the wire, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be really close. And I knew that tonight I needed to basically maximize points as much as I can. I came into this race with an 8-point deficit to Rob, with no drop points to work with. So we did pretty much just that. Very disappointed with the qualifying. Just had some actually hardware issues that would keep turning off my wheel, and I wouldn't be able to shift coming out of the hairpin. So we fixed that in the 30 minutes before the race, and yeah, I mean, we finished with both the fastest lap and with 0x. So got as many points as I could, all things considered, and that should help me close the gap here.
Well, congratulations on the win in the GTD classification here, Carter. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to give a shout out to in particular?
Yeah, no, I'll give a shout out to really everyone who's kind of stuck with Autobahn through the season. I know it's been a little on the lower end in terms of participation, but honestly, everyone who's kind of stuck around has been great. And then, all the guys at Composite Performance and all the sponsors that go along with it, P1 Docs for giving me a good set. Yeah, I got to thank all those guys for tonight.
Brilliant. Well, Carter, good to chat with you. Good to have you back on the grid as always. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time for the penultimate round of the series at Motorland Aragon on March 30th.
Yeah, hopefully see you in this broadcast booth in 2 weeks.
Brilliant. Right, big thank you there to Carter Cundinger. But got to speak to the man who has been a tour de force in GTP. This man has pretty much been unstoppable, and I know he's currently muted on his microphone at the minute, but Brandon Wilson, for another round of the series, this man has had... You've had no challenges, Brandon. I mean, what's going on? You're like running away with it at the moment, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, in this scenario, I kind of just set goals for myself to keep myself focused. This race, I was trying to get into the 26s. I almost ran on fuel in like the last 5 laps because I forgot about fuel. So I had to go pretty slow in the last 2 laps and then gave it a shot at the end. But yeah, I mean, I'd love to see more people, but I mean, until then, I just do what I can, do my job, push as
Mm.
hard as I can the entire time. That part never changes for me. I don't really care who I'm going against. Um, but yeah, still a lot of fun out there. I appreciate the people who do show up every week. And this is my petition to get Pat back in here.
Yeah, hashtag bring back Pell Chat, I think is what we need to start putting
Yeah.
on social media, you and I. But nevertheless, I mean, that now puts you in a slightly better position in front of Nathan, because we're just having the points updated as we speak. That is now your third win out of the last 4 rounds. Obviously, we didn't see you at Indy, but that has now put you on 298 points versus Nathan on 284, including 2 drop scores. I mean, the thing is that if you're over 25 point, well, I think, what was it? Let's say, because a complete run of results would be, I think, if I remember correctly, 1 point for pole position, 1 for fastest lap, and is it 2 points for a 0x? If you're
Look at that
29
here.
points ahead, yeah, if you're 29 points ahead of him, by the time we finish at Aragon, that's it, job done. Before we go to
Okay.
Spa.
Is it Spa's endurance round
Spa's the
now?
last one. Spa's the last endurance round, but
Yeah.
you still got an opportunity. You never know. You might be in the thick of that one as well. But still, nevertheless, it's good to see a Hyperion Racing prototype do the business as always. But well done on the win here at Hockenheim. Before we let you go, buddy, anyone you'd like to thank in particular?
Yeah, of course, my team, Hyperion Racing, and our awesome sponsors, uh, Sim Gaming Expo, TAM Livery, as well as iPredictor. Those guys do an awesome job, and they're great for helping us out. Yeah, excited for Aragon. The caddy is really strong there, so I think we may see something similar to like uh, Set Track and Canada, most Mosport, where
Hmm.
Nathan was really close to me actually there. So yeah, Caddy Grip's really strong there. Not my best track, so we'll see what happens.
Brilliant. Well, Brandon, pleasure speaking to you as always, buddy. We'll see you in a couple of weeks' time for round 13 at Motorland Aragon. Well done tonight.
Cool. Thank you guys.
Okay, well, that really wraps up our post-race interview show. I'm just going to keep an eye on, well, points are being updated as we speak for GTD, but a lot of dramas that have happened here today at the Hockenheim ring for round number 12. I mean, Chris, we didn't have the biggest field, but we did get some good racing, and that included that three-car brawl between De Oliveira, Sherburne, and Green, right down to the checkered, where they were covered by less than 3/4 of a second after their respective laps. I mean, that was a hell of a battle.
That was a fantastic battle. I was kind of hoping Samuel was going to come up into the interview booth. I'm sure he'd be pretty excited. Maybe he had to go catch his breath and gather himself up after holding
Well,
Sherburne back that entire time.
I think, well, because Portugal is the same time zone as the UK, so I think he's probably trying to get some shut eye now.
More than likely.
It's nearly 10 to 3 in the morning. But you know what, folks? What a race it's been at the Hockenheim ring. We've still got 2 rounds to go here, don't forget, on the Autobahn Sportscar Challenge for 2025 and 2026. What we do have is the fact that we have Motorland Aragon, round number 13, in 2 weeks' time. Then in 4 weeks' time, we head to our final battleground of the 2025-2026 Autobahn Sports Car Challenge and Autobahn Endurance Cup. It will be the 90-minute endurance race finale at the famed Belgian circuit known as Spa-Francorchamps. Just to give you all a little bit of an update on the point situation, Brandon Wilson now leads GTP by 14 points going into the penultimate round of the series, ahead of Nathan Dowd with Dominic Dernberg a further 22 points adrift. Kadeen Richardson, 60 points. I think that might say enough that he will become the 2025-2026 Autobahn Sports Car Challenge LMP2 champion. In terms of the GTD side of things, well, it's down to 1 point. Cast 282, Kundiger 281, Haley 262. 20 points separate the top 3 in the GTD side of things. Obviously, I would imagine that Samuel de Oliveira will continue to lead the way after his very, very close win here at Hockenheim. Oh, hang on a second. Let's bring him in. Well, Mr. de Oliveira, good morning, I should say, if you can hear us. Wait for him to unmute in just a second, but this man had a big
sorry,
old...
sorry.
Don't worry about it. Good morning, Samuel. How are you, buddy?
All good, all good. Pretty exhausted after this one. It was an
I bet, man.
eventful
I bet.
race.
But, I mean, even though there were only 3 GTD AMs, you guys gave us a hell of a show for the last 20 minutes. I mean, you really had to... You know, how's your brow feeling at the moment? Nice and sweaty and everything, I take it, after that battle with Chris?
Yeah, I definitely need to get myself a glass of water after this one. It was oh man, I didn't make my life easier for me at all. It was such a great race. We were like toe to toe, the 3 of us. I felt like I was constantly in the verge of like one tiny mistake and Chris taking immediate advantage of it. It was amazing. It was amazing racing. Chris was always on, right on at my bumper. I was just like trying to keep holding on. It was really, really good.
I think it just goes to show how close things can be, because we've actually had an update on the points. And that is now, out of the last 7 appearances by your good self, that now means you have won since every single round, apart from Portimao. You have won every single race. Road America, Mount Panorama, Jerez, Indianapolis, Sebring, and now Hockenheim. But this was the closest finish out of the 6 wins so far. You're 56 points ahead of Paul Slavonic. Chris is a further 10 behind in P3. Your run of form since Road America has been nothing if not exemplary, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's been. I felt like even though, and I was reviewing the results last night, I was just like looking at how the season went, and even though I had a few, I think I had like 2 or 3 podiums at the start of the season, I felt like I was just like really like messing up on some key moments. I messed up in Daytona, I messed up in Road America,
Mm.
I messed up in Motegi, and I felt like in the second half, after basically a little break, I couldn't make it to Portimao, but every single race after that, I felt like it's just been, it's just everything's coming together very nicely. I felt like this race, I struggled a lot. I feel like my setup was not that good, but I was still able to hold it for a little bit. But yeah,
Mhm.
fortunately, things have been falling in the right place. Even I remember there were a couple of races where I didn't really qualify pole, but then just I mean this race I didn't qualify pole, but sometimes the right opportunity comes and I'm able to make a move and then I'm able to hold it until the end of the race. And yeah, it's been a great second half of the season.
Well, I mean, the thing is that if you take glory at Aragon, that's it. You've secured the GTD AM title. But we know for a fact that nothing's ever written in stone until that final checkered flag falls, especially when we're going to Spa for round 14 on April the 13th. I mean, fantastic job as always, Samuel. I mean, 6 wins out of 7 appearances. Before we let you go, buddy, and get yourself some well-needed shut-eyes, I know we're on the same time zone, you and I, as it's 5 to 3 in the morning. Who would you like to thank before we let you go, buddy?
Chris and Dale, they made us so fun. It was awesome. I I felt like we really had a great groove going on during this race, and it was awesome. So shout out to them for awesome clean racing as always.
Brilliant. Well, Samuel, we'll look forward to seeing you, buddy, in a couple of weeks' time for the penultimate round of the series at Motorland Aragon. Well done tonight.
Thank you very much. See you at Aragon. Goodbye.
Well, that was the last of our interviews here on the post-race interview show. Well, it has been, or the points have been also updated for the teams, and I can say now that Composite Performance have gone into a slightly bigger lead now. 3,100 points, plays Sector 5, provided by Haley Agency on 2,915. Fury Simsport on 2,777. Solpec Precision Racing, 4th, ahead of Sector 5 Black, and Satellite Racing bringing up the rear of it. But Chris, what a great duel we had. GTD AM kept us on tenterhooks for the last 20 minutes of that race. I mean, Motorland Aragon in 2 weeks' time. Who knows what that is going to bring?
Yeah, it's just been a fantastic season with the Autobahn Sports Car Challenge, and can't wait to see what happens the last couple of races for sure. That was probably one of the better races we've seen in quite a while in the GTDM. Just a fantastic show, and just a show of respect right there. I've been covering some NASCAR races here off and on, and if that had been a NASCAR race, Sherburne would have just gave the bumper to DL and moved him out of the way. So you can
I
just see
know.
the difference the difference in driving styles here with these guys, and just a fantastic show by all the drivers tonight.
Well, that wraps up our live coverage of round number 12 of the 2025-2026 Autobahn Sports Car Challenge live here on JP Broadcasting. Up here in the broadcast booth overlooking the circuit itself, it's Alex Goldschmidt and Chris Murphy. It's been a real pleasure being with you all once again. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. We will see you same place, same time, 2 weeks from now. The penultimate round of the series kicks into high gear for another 60 minutes as we'll go into battle at Motorland Aragon in Spain before 2 weeks later we head to the final battleground in the Ardennes Forest at the iconic Spa-Francorchamps circuit. Until next time, race hard, race fair, and if in doubt, well, you better go flat out. We'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.